Captain Taeho Kim stood tall on the bridge of the UES Resilience. His ship was the pride of the United Earth Defense Force. Through the giant window at the front of the bridge, he could see the alien ship. It waited in space, just far enough away that Earth's weapons could not easily hit it. Taeho felt a mix of hope and worry as he looked at the strange vessel. "Sir, they're calling us," said Lieutenant Ji-Soo Park from her seat at the communications station. Her fingers moved quickly over the glowing control panels. Taeho took a deep breath and fixed his uniform. "Put them on the main screen," he ordered. The large screen at the front of the bridge lit up. The face that appeared was not human. The alien had skin that shimmered blue like the ocean on a sunny day. 4 eyes, set in the shape of a diamond, blinked at the humans. This was Ambassador Vrax of the Ardorian hegemony, and this was humanity's first face-to-face meeting with aliens. "Captain Kim," the alien spoke, its words changed to English by the translation computer. "The Ardorian hegemony is pleased to meet with humans officially. The Galactic Council has watched Earth for many years." Taeho nodded respectfully. "Ambassador Vrax, on behalf of all humans, we welcome you to our solar system." The alien's upper eyes narrowed slightly. "We find your species quite unusual, Captain. Most intelligent life forms in our galaxy spend much of their time and resources preparing for war. But humans have tried very hard to avoid big wars since you discovered nuclear weapons. This is not common." Taeho raised an eyebrow. "We have had many terrible wars in our past, Ambassador. We learned hard lessons from them. War brings death and pain. We choose to find other ways to solve problems when we can." "Indeed," Vrax said. The translation program showed that the alien's tone suggested amusement. "The Council finds your species' dislike of war refreshing, though concerning for your future safety." Taeho frowned slightly. "Concerning? In what way?" "The galaxy is not a safe place, Captain Kim. Many species respect only strength and military power. But do not worry. As a developing world, Earth will receive the Council's protection." Something in the alien's voice bothered Taeho. It sounded like Vrax was talking down to him, like an adult to a child who doesn't understand real dangers. "We appreciate the offer, Ambassador, but Earth can protect itself," Taeho said carefully. Of course," Vrax said with a gesture that the translation software indicated was the equivalent of a dismissive wave. "We should discuss the details of our future relationship. The Council has prepared a standard agreement for new species." For the next 2 hours, Taeho and his team talked with the aliens about trade, cultural exchange, and technology sharing. The Ardorians offered to help humans with advanced space travel technology. In return, they wanted access to Earth's rich resources and permission to build bases in the solar system. These bases would be for scientific purposes only, Ambassador Vrax explained. Admiral Sun Woo Choi, who was listening from Earth Command, spoke up through the communication link. "We would need to know exactly what kind of research before approving any bases in our system, Ambassador." The alien's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. "Of course, Admiral. We will provide all necessary information. The Council values transparency." When the meeting ended and the communication link with the aliens was closed, Taeho turned to his second-in-command. "What do you think, Ji-Soo?" he asked. Lieutenant Park's face showed concern. "They seem helpful, sir, but something feels off. They talk about us like we're children who need protection." Taeho nodded. "I noticed that too. The ambassador's final words keep playing in my mind. Humans fear war, and that is why you need our guidance. As if avoiding war when possible makes us weak." "Permission to speak freely, sir?" Ji-Soo asked. "Always, Lieutenant. The Ardorians don't understand humans very well, if they think we avoid war because we're afraid. We avoid war because we're too good at it." Taeho smiled grimly. "Let's hope we never have to prove that point." 3 weeks later, Dr. Hae-Yun Lee walked through the hallways of the Earth Defense Headquarters. She carried a tablet filled with data about the Ardorians, and other alien species from the Galactic Council. As Earth's top expert on alien cultures, her job was to understand these new visitors. She entered the main conference room, where Admiral Sunwoo and other military and political leaders waited. "Dr. Lee, thank you for coming," the Admiral said. "What have you learned about our new friends?" Hei-yun connected her tablet to the large screen on the wall. "I've analyzed all communications with the Ardorians and compared them with the data they shared about the Galactic Council. I'm concerned about several things." She swiped to show a star map. "The Council has 27 full member species and 43 protectorate species. The Ardorians are one of the founding members and have significant influence." "What's a protectorate?" asked one of the politicians. "That's what concerns me," Hei-yun replied. "Protectorate species receive protection from the Council, but they have no voting rights on Council matters. They must follow Council rules and allow Council members to establish bases on their worlds and use their resources." Admiral Sunwoo frowned. "And the Ardorians want us to become a protectorate?" "Yes, they're pushing for it because they believe we're an easy target. They've classified Earth as a non-martial civilization." Taiho, who had been quietly listening, spoke up. "What exactly does that mean?" Hei-yun brought up another image showing different alien species ranked by something called the Galactic Military Index. The Council ranks all known species by their military capability and willingness to use force. Species at the top, like the Ardorians, are considered apex martial civilizations. Those at the bottom are labeled non-martial and are seen as, well, to put it bluntly, as prey. A heavy silence fell over the room. "They think we're weak because we try to avoid unnecessary wars," Taiho said quietly. "Exactly," Hei-yun nodded. "In their culture, species that don't constantly display military power must be incapable of defending themselves. They believe humans fear war because we're inherently submissive." Admiral Sunwoo stood up, his face grim. "They've completely misunderstood us. Humans don't fear war. We respect it. We know its cost better than most." "What do you suggest we do, Admiral?" asked the defense minister. Sunwoo looked at the star map, showing the Galactic Council territories. "For now, we play along. We let them think we're the harmless, peace-loving species they believe us to be. Meanwhile, we quietly prepare." "For what?" someone asked. "For the day they try to take advantage of our supposed weakness," the Admiral answered. "Dr. Lee, continue your research. Find out everything you can about Council technology, especially their weapons and defenses. Captain Kim, your ship will continue diplomatic meetings with the Ardorians, but you'll also gather intelligence on their capabilities." Taiho nodded, understanding the gravity of the situation. "And what about their request to build bases in our system?" "We'll delay," Sunwoo said. "Ask for more information. Request time to consider their proposals, negotiate terms. We need time." As the meeting ended, Hei-yun approached Taiho in the hallway. "Captain, there's something else you should know," she said quietly. "In my research, I found records of 3 other species that the Ardorians classified as non-martial in the past century." "What happened to them?" Taiho asked, though he suspected the answer. "They're all protectorates now. Their home planets are being mined for resources, and their people have very little freedom. The Ardorians took everything from them without firing a single shot." Taiho's jaw tightened, because these species feared war. "No," Hei-yun shook her head, "because they didn't prepare for it." As they stood there, a message came through on Taiho's communicator. The Ardorian ship was requesting another meeting. "It seems our new friends are getting impatient," Taiho said. Hei-yun gave him a determined look. "Remember, Captain, let them think we're naive. Let them think we fear war. And if they push too hard," Taiho asked. "Then they'll learn the truth," she said firmly. "Humans don't fear war. We just prefer peace. There's a big difference." Taiho nodded and headed back to his ship, ready to face the aliens who had so badly misjudged humanity. Little did the Ardorians know, they weren't dealing with a species that feared war. They were dealing with a species that had mastered it, and chose not to use that mastery unless provoked. The game of pretend had begun. But games have winners and losers, and humans had no intention of losing. 2 months after the first meeting with the Ardorians, Dr. Hei-Yun Lee found herself on board the massive Galactic Council station. The space station was bigger than any city on Earth, home to thousands of aliens from many different worlds. Hei-Yun had been sent as Earth's expert on alien cultures. Her real job was to learn everything she could about the Council and the Ardorians. Hei-Yun wore a simple blue uniform with Earth's flag on the shoulder. She tried to look impressed and a little overwhelmed as her Ardorian guide, Zem, showed her around the station. "This is the Grand Hall where species apply for Council membership," Zem said, pointing to a huge room with tall ceilings. "Of course, Earth is not ready for full membership yet. Protectorate status is the first step for a species like yours." Hei-Yun noticed the way Zem said, "A species like yours." It wasn't friendly. She kept her face neutral and asked, "What makes a species ready for full membership?" Zem's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. "Many factors: technology level, population size, resource control, but most important is strength. The ability to defend your territory and help defend the Council if needed." "I see," Hei-Yun said, trying to sound naive. "And how does the Council measure strength?" "The Galactic Military Index, of course. Each species is ranked based on their military power and their willingness to use it." Zem made a sound that the translator said was a laugh. "Earth ranks quite low. Your people spend more time making art and music than weapons." Hei-Yun smiled politely. "We value peace." "Peace is a luxury in this galaxy," Dr. Lee, Zem said. "It exists only where there is strength to enforce it." As they continued the tour, Hei-Yun carefully observed everything. She noted the types of weapons the Council's security forces carried. She watched how different alien species interacted with each other. And most importantly, she listened to what they said when they thought she couldn't understand them. Later that day, Hei-Yun met with a Tellurian information broker named Mrek. Unlike the Ardorians, who looked somewhat like blue humans with extra eyes, Mrek looked like a cross between a fox and a raccoon who could walk on 2 legs. They met in a small cafe in a quiet corner of the station. Hei-Yun had been told that Mrek might be willing to share information for a price. "What can I help you with, human?" Mrek asked, sipping the strange purple drink through a straw. "I want to know more about how the Ardorians treat their protectorates," Hei-Yun said directly. Mrek's furry ears twitched. "That will cost you. What are you offering?" Hei-Yun placed a small drive on the table. "Earth music. Over 10,000 songs from hundreds of cultures. I'm told it's quite valuable here." Mrek's eyes widened slightly. "Acceptable." He took the drive and tucked it into a pocket. "The Ardorians are not good partners, human. They find worlds with resources they want, then take control of those worlds." "How do they do this?" "With force." Mrek shook his head. "No need for force with species like yours. Species the Council calls non-martial. The Ardorians offer protection and technology. In return, they ask for small things at first. A base here, mining rights there. But soon, they control all important resources." Hei-Yun frowned. "This has happened before. 3 times in the last 50 years. The Lorians, the Keth, and the Brill. All classified as non-martial species. All now Ardorian protectorates with no real freedom. And the Council allows this." Mrek made a chirping sound that meant laughter. "Allows? The Council encourages it. Strong species deserve resources. Weak species serve the strong. That is the Council's way." Hei-Yun felt cold inside. What would happen if a non-martial species refused to become a protectorate? Mrek's eyes became serious. If they have something the Council wants, the Council would find a reason to take it. Perhaps pirates would attack Earth ships. Perhaps dangerous criminals would hide on your world, requiring council forces to enter your system. That's wrong, He-Yun said quietly. That is reality, Rek replied. The council respects only strength and the willingness to use it. That night, He-Yun made a secure call to Admiral Sunwoo back on Earth. The call was hidden inside what looked like a regular entertainment stream. Admiral, I've confirmed our concerns, she said. The Ardorians have done this before. They find peaceful species, label them as weak, then slowly take control of their resources. Sunwoo's face on the screen looked grim. How much time do we have? Not much. They're already setting up mining operations in the asteroid belt. The treaty they want us to sign would give them rights to mine throughout our entire system. And if we refuse, according to my source, they'll create a situation that forces us to accept their help or face destruction. Sunwoo was quiet for a moment. We've been preparing since we first suspected their true intentions. Project Sleeping Dragon is nearly ready. He-Yun nodded. The Ardorians and the Council have completely misunderstood humans. They think our desire for peace means we're afraid of war. A dangerous mistake, Sunwoo said. Is there any chance for real peace with the Council? Yes, but only if they respect us. And in their eyes, respect comes from strength. They need to see that humans aren't weak or afraid. We choose peace because we're wise, not because we're frightened. Then we'll show them who we really are, Sunwoo said. But only when we're ready. Continue your work, Dr. Lee. Learn everything you can about their technology and strategies. Yes, Admiral, He-Yun said. One more thing. They're planning to increase their mining operations near Saturn without Earth's permission. They don't think we'll stop them. Perfect, Sunwoo said with a small smile. Then that's where we'll make our point. 1 week later, Captain Tae-ho Kim stood on the bridge of the UES Resilience as it approached Saturn. His ship had been ordered to monitor the Ardorian mining fleet that had entered the system without proper approval from Earth. Sir, I'm detecting 12 Ardorian ships near Titan. Lieutenant Ji-Soo reported from her station. They're setting up large mining equipment on the moon's surface. Hail the Ardorian commander, Tae-ho ordered. The face of Sub-Prefect Kroll appeared on the main screen. The Ardorian officer looked annoyed at the interruption. Captain Kim, what do you want? We are busy here. Tae-ho kept his voice polite and slightly submissive, just as he had been instructed. Sub-Prefect, we noticed your fleet entering this area. Our records don't show approval for mining operations on Titan. Kroll made a dismissive gesture. The agreement between the Ardorian hegemony and Earth has been updated. Your government has been informed. I see, Tae-ho said, pretending to be confused. We must have missed that update. May I ask what resources you're mining here? That is Ardorian business, Kroll said sharply. Your presence is not required or wanted. Leave the area immediately. Tae-ho bowed his head slightly. Of course, Sub-Prefect. We meant no offense. We'll withdraw to observe from a distance, as is our right under galactic law. Kroll's 4 eyes narrowed. Very well. But stay out of our way. As the communication ended, Ji-Soo looked at her captain. Sir, they're lying. Earth never approved these operations. I know, Tae-ho said quietly, but we're playing a longer game. He turned to his weapons officer. Deploy the stealth satellites as planned. Make sure the Ardorians don't detect them. Yes, sir, the officer replied. Satellites ready for deployment. Tae-ho nodded. Release them, and prepare to receive Admiral Sunwoo's data package. As the Resilience pretended to withdraw from the area, it secretly left behind dozens of small, nearly invisible satellites. These satellites began mapping the Ardorian fleet, scanning their weapons, shields, and communication systems. Tae-ho watched the operation from his captain's chair. He thought about what Dr. He-Yun had told him about the Council and their view of humans as weak and afraid. They have no idea who they're dealing with, he said quietly. Ji-Soo, who was standing nearby, nodded. No, sir, they don't. They think humans fear war. And soon they'll learn the truth, Tai-Ho replied. Humans don't fear war. We respect it. And that makes us more dangerous, not less. The Resilients moved to a safe distance, watching and waiting. The Ardorians believed they were dealing with a weak, frightened species that would give up its resources without a fight. They were about to learn how wrong they were. 2 weeks had passed since Captain Tai-Ho deployed the stealth satellites near Saturn. The UES Resilients remained at the edge of the Saturn system, watching the Ardorian mining operation grow larger each day. More alien ships arrived, bringing heavy equipment to strip Titan of its valuable resources. Tai-Ho sat in his private office, reviewing the data collected by the stealth satellites. The door chimed. Enter, he called. Lieutenant Jisoo Park walked in with a data tablet. Sir, we've completed our analysis of the Ardorian fleet. What did we learn? Tai-Ho asked. Jisoo placed the tablet on his desk. It showed detailed scans of the alien ships. Their weapons are powerful, but their defense systems have a weakness. Their shields operate on a rotating frequency. If we time our attacks correctly, we can bypass them completely. Tai-Ho nodded. Good work. Any update from Earth Command? Yes, sir. Admiral Sunwoo wants to speak with you. It's marked urgent. Minutes later, Tai-Ho sat before his communication screen as Admiral Sunwoo's face appeared. Captain, how are our friends behaving? The Admiral asked. They're getting bolder, sir. They've expanded their operation to include 3 of Saturn's moons now. They barely acknowledge our presence anymore. Sunwoo's face was serious. The Ardorian ambassador on Earth has just delivered new terms for our protection agreement. They want mining rights to the entire solar system and permission to build permanent bases on Mars and the Moon. And if we refuse? They didn't say it directly, but the message was clear. Accept their terms or face consequences. Tai-Ho frowned. How should we respond, sir? Project Sleeping Dragon is complete, Sunwoo said. Dr. Hae-Yun has returned from the Council Station with vital intelligence. It's time to show the Ardorians who they're really dealing with. The Admiral sent a file to Tai-Ho's computer. This is Operation Rising Shield. Study it carefully. You'll lead the first phase in 3 days. In the Earth Defense Headquarters, deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, Dr. Hae-Yun Lee stood before a room full of military leaders. A large screen behind her showed images of various alien ships and weapons. The Ardorians rely heavily on energy-based weapons, she explained. Their ships are fast, but not very strong. They depend on their shield technology for protection. Admiral Sunwoo, who sat at the head of the table, asked, "And you're certain our countermeasures will work?" Hae-Yun nodded. "Yes, Admiral. The shield frequency data we gathered from Saturn confirms it. Our weapons will penetrate their defenses if timed correctly." "What about the other Council species?" a general asked. "Will they join the Ardorians against us?" "Most likely not," Hae-Yun replied. "The Council operates on strength and respect. If we demonstrate that we're stronger than the Ardorians expected, the other species will stay out of the conflict. They may even start to respect humans." Sunwoo stood up. "Then we proceed as planned. For decades, Earth has maintained the appearance of minimal military development. We've hidden our true capabilities under the cover of scientific exploration and defensive technologies. Now it's time to reveal what we've been building." He pressed a button on the table, and the screen changed to show a map of the solar system. Hundreds of small dots appeared throughout the map. "These are our hidden military assets," Sunwoo explained. "Weapon platforms disguised as research stations, stealth ships that appear as small asteroids on sensors, defense systems built inside moons, and large asteroids. Will this be enough to stand against the entire Council if needed?" someone asked. Sunwoo smiled slightly. "We've been preparing for possible alien contact since the first radio signals were detected in the 2030s. We hoped for peace, but we prepared for all outcomes. The Ardorians think we fear war because we seek peaceful solutions. They're about to learn that humans choose peace not from fear, but from wisdom. Back on the Resilience, Taeho briefed his crew on Operation Rising Shield. In 3 days, we will show the Ardorians the truth about humanity, he told them. Our mission is to disable their mining fleet without destroying any ships or causing any deaths. We want to demonstrate our power, not start a war. Jisoo raised her hand. Won't this action provoke the entire council against us? That's why we must be perfect in our execution, Taeho replied. If we show too little strength, they'll think we're weak and continue to take advantage of us. If we show too much aggression, they'll see us as a threat that must be destroyed. We need to find the perfect balance, strong enough to earn respect, but controlled enough to show wisdom. The crew spent the next 3 days preparing. Every system on the ship was checked and double-checked. Weapons were calibrated to disable, not destroy. The stealth satellites continued to gather data on the Ardorian ships, updating the Resilience's targeting computers. On the morning of the operation, Taeho stood on the bridge of his ship. The crew was tense but ready. "Sir, we've received the signal from Earth Command," Jisoo reported. "Operation Rising Shield is authorized." Taeho nodded. "Send a message to Sub-Prefect Kroll. Tell him I wish to discuss the mining operation one more time." When Kroll's annoyed face appeared on the screen, Taeho spoke with a new confidence that surprised the alien. "Sub-Prefect, this will be our final conversation regarding your unauthorized mining in our system." Kroll's 4 eyes narrowed. "Final? What do you mean, human?" "I mean that Earth has decided not to become an Ardorian protectorate. We decline your offer of protection and request that you remove your mining equipment from our system immediately." The Ardorian laughed. "You decline. Your species has no choice in this matter. The Council has already approved our operation here." "The Council approved this without Earth's consent," Taeho said firmly. "We do not recognize their authority to give away what is not theirs to give." Kroll's tone became threatening. "Captain Kim, your species is in no position to make demands. You lack the strength and the will to stop us. Humans fear war. Everyone in the galaxy knows this." Taeho smiled slightly. "That's where you're wrong, Sub-Prefect. Humans don't fear war. We respect it. There's a big difference. Words," Kroll dismissed. "Empty words from a weak species." "Not just words," Taeho replied. "Allow me to demonstrate." He nodded to Jisoo, who pressed a sequence of commands into her console. Across the Saturn system, dozens of the stealth satellites suddenly activated. Each one targeted a specific system on the Ardorian ships: weapons, engines, and communications. They fired precisely timed energy pulses that passed right through the Ardorian shields as if they weren't there. On the screen, Taeho watched as confusion spread across Kroll's face. Behind the alien, alarm lights began to flash. "What is happening?" Kroll demanded. "What have you done?" "We've disabled your weapons, engines, and long-range communications," Taeho explained calmly. "Your ships are unharmed, and your crews are safe, but you will not be mining in our system anymore." Kroll's face showed shock and then anger. "This is impossible. Your species doesn't have this technology." "We have many technologies that we chose not to share," Taeho said. "Just as we chose not to build massive war fleets or planet-destroying weapons. Not because we fear war, but because we've seen enough of it in our own history to know it should be the last option, not the first." As they spoke, a new signal came in. Admiral Sunwoo was calling for a direct link to both the Resilience and Kroll's ship. "Sub-Prefect Kroll," the Admiral said when his face appeared on screen. "I am Admiral Sunwoo Choi of Earth Defense Command. What you are experiencing is only a small demonstration of Earth's true capabilities." He pressed a button, and the view changed to show the solar system. Throughout the system, hundreds of hidden defense platforms were revealing themselves. Near Earth, massive ships emerged from hidden bases on the Moon and Mars. In the asteroid belt, weapons platforms activated, their energy signatures now clear on all sensors. For decades, We have hidden our true strength, Sun Wu continued, not because we feared showing it, but because we hoped it would never be needed. The Ardorian hegemony and the Galactic Council have mistaken our patience for weakness, our preference for peace as fear of conflict. Kroll's eyes were wide as he watched Earth's hidden fleet activate. We will not be a protectorate, Sun Wu stated firmly. Earth will join the Galactic Council as an equal or not at all. Your mining fleet will leave our system immediately. The Admiral's voice grew softer but more intense. Remember this, Sub-Prefect, and make sure your leaders understand. Humans don't fear war. We simply prefer peace. Push us too far, and you will discover just how dangerous we can be when we have no other choice. The demonstration of Earth's hidden power was complete. Now they would see how the Ardorians and the Galactic Council would respond to the truth about humanity. The Galactic Council's main chamber was filled with representatives from 27 different species. The huge room had a circle of seats in the center where the most powerful species sat. Around them, in rising rows, sat the representatives of lesser species and protectorates. Dr. He-Yun Lee stood with Admiral Sun Woo Choi and Captain Tae-Ho Kim at the entrance to the chamber. They were Earth's representatives for this emergency meeting. It had been 3 days since Operation Rising Shield, when Earth had disabled the Ardorian mining fleet near Saturn. Now, the entire council wanted answers. Remember, Sun Wu said quietly to his team, we are not here to apologize. We are here to claim our rightful place. They walked into the chamber with confident steps. The aliens watched them with various expressions that the translation software identified as surprise, curiosity, and in some cases, new respect. The head of the council, a tall Ardorian named High Commander Frex, spoke first. Representatives of Earth, you have been called here to explain your unprovoked attack on an Ardorian mining operation. Admiral Sun Wu stepped forward. There was no attack, High Commander. No Ardorian ships were damaged. No Ardorian lives were lost. We simply disabled ships that were stealing resources from our system without our permission. The Council approved those operations, said the Ardorian representative angrily. The Council does not own Earth's solar system. Sun Wu replied calmly. Earth does, and Earth did not give permission for those mining operations. The chamber filled with loud voices as various representatives argued with each other. The head of the council banged a large metal object on his desk to restore order. Humans, Vrex said with obvious frustration, your species was classified as non-martial. You avoid conflict. You lack the necessary aggressive instincts to be full members of the galactic community. Your place is as a protectorate under Ardorian guidance. He-Yun stepped forward. With respect, High Commander, your classification of humanity is wrong. We are not a non-martial species. We are a post-martial species. Post-martial. Vrex looked confused. What does this mean? It means, He-Yun explained, that humans have experienced enough war in our history to understand its true cost. We choose peace not because we fear war, but because we know war too well. Captain Tae-Ho added, the demonstration at Saturn was not meant as an attack. It was meant to correct a dangerous misunderstanding about humanity. The representative from the Tellurian species, who looked like a fox walking on 2 legs, spoke up. I find this interesting. The humans say they choose not to make war, rather than being incapable of it. Their actions at Saturn support this claim. A large alien with thick gray skin and small eyes leaned forward. If humans are truly capable warriors who choose peace, then perhaps they deserve more respect than we have shown. The Ardorian representative stood up angrily. This is ridiculous. They disabled our ships. They threatened our mining operations. They must be punished for this outrage. Admiral Sun Wu remained calm. We did not threaten anyone. We defended what is ours. There is a difference. He pressed a button on his wrist device, and a large hologram appeared in the center of the chamber. It showed Earth's solar system, with all of the recently revealed defense systems highlighted. For decades, humanity has hidden its true military capabilities, Sun Wu explained. We hoped we would never need to use them. We wanted peaceful relations with the galactic community. Tai-Ho continued, but we discovered that the Council respects only strength. You misinterpreted our desire for peace as weakness. You planned to take our resources and control our world because you thought we were afraid to fight back. He-Yun stepped forward again. I have studied your cultures, just as you have studied ours. But you made a critical error. You saw our museums dedicated to peace, our united government, our focus on art and science, and you assumed we had evolved beyond warfare. The truth is simpler. We evolved beyond using war as our first choice. The council chamber was quiet now. Many representatives were looking at the humans with new eyes. What does Earth want? Vrex finally asked. Earth wants to join the Galactic Council as a full member, not a protectorate, Sunwoo stated clearly. We want fair trade agreements, not exploitation. We want respect for our sovereignty, not control of our resources. And we want it understood that while humans prefer peace, we are fully capable of defending ourselves if necessary. A representative from a species that looked like tall, thin insects clicked its mandibles. The translation came through as, the humans have proven their point. They disabled an Ardorian fleet without destroying a single ship or taking a single life. That shows both strength and control. The Tellurian representative nodded. I agree. This is not the action of a weak species, nor of a dangerously aggressive one. This is the action of a species that understands the proper use of power. Vrex looked unhappy, but other council members were nodding in agreement. Very well, the High Commander said reluctantly. The Council will consider Earth's request for full membership. The Ardorian mining operation at Saturn will be suspended pending further discussions. As the meeting ended, many of the alien representatives approached the humans, curious to learn more about this species that had hidden its true nature so well. 2 weeks later, Tai-Ho sat in a small garden on the Galactic Council station. He watched the stars through the garden's clear dome. He-Yun joined him, sitting on the bench beside him. The council has approved our full membership, she said. It will be announced tomorrow. Tai-Ho smiled. That's good news. How did the Ardorians take it? Not well, He-Yun admitted. But the other species outvoted them. Our demonstration impressed them. They respect the fact that we could have destroyed the Ardorian fleet, but chose not to. That was always our way, Tai-Ho said thoughtfully, having the strength to fight, but the wisdom to avoid fighting when possible. He-Yun looked out at the stars. I've been thinking about what we learned from all this. The Ardorians and many council species believe that avoiding war means fearing it. They couldn't understand that true strength comes from making the right choice, not just having the biggest weapons. Do you think they understand now? Tai-Ho asked. Some do. Others will take time. But they all respect us now, and that's a start. Lieutenant Jisoo approached them with a data tablet. Captain, Dr. Lee, Admiral Sunwoo is asking for you. The new trade agreements are ready to be signed. As they walked through the station, Tai-Ho noticed how differently the aliens treated them now. There were respectful nods, curious glances, but no more condescending looks or dismissive gestures. They entered a large meeting room where Admiral Sunwoo was talking with representatives from several species. The Ardorian representative was there too, looking less than happy about the situation. Ah, Captain Kim, Dr. Lee, Sunwoo greeted them. We were just discussing the Council's new classification system. They've created a new category for Earth, self-restrained martial. It means a species with significant military capability that chooses to use it only when necessary. The Tellurian representative, who had become something of an ally to the humans, added, several other species are being re-evaluated under this new classification. Your example has changed how the Council thinks about strength and wisdom. The Ardorian representative spoke up. Don't think this means we trust you, humans. We will be watching you closely. Admiral Sunwoo smiled politely, just as we will be watching you. Sub-Commander. Mutual caution can be the beginning of mutual respect. As the meeting continued, Heiyun leaned close to Taiho and whispered, "This is only the beginning. We've shown them who we really are, but we still have much to learn about each other." Taiho nodded. True peace never comes easily. But at least now they understand that humans don't avoid war because we fear it. We avoid it because we respect it. And that makes us stronger, not weaker. Later that day, Earth officially became the 28th full member of the Galactic Council. As the Earth flag was raised in the council chamber, Taiho thought about the journey that had brought them here. The Ardorians had claimed that humans feared war, but they had been wrong. Humans didn't fear war. They simply understood its cost better than most. And that understanding, that wisdom, had earned humanity its place among the stars. From that day forward, the galaxy would know the truth. Humans could be the most dangerous species when threatened, but they chose peace when possible. They weren't weak. They were wise. And in time, perhaps the rest of the galaxy would learn that true strength wasn't in how readily you went to war, but in how skillfully you managed to avoid it, while still protecting what mattered most.